Welcome, YouTube friends. Today, we'll be looking at a 2011 Triumph Tiger 800XC. And here's your host, Bozo Squid. What's up, everybody? Bozo here. We're looking at this Triumph Tiger 800XC today. We're going to go over all the specs. We are going to go over the modifications that may have been done to this motorcycle. We are going to fire it up, give it a little rip, a little sound checky deal there, and then we are going to take it out on the road and see how we like it. We'll start off with how much this bike was new and how much you can get it used. New back in 2011, you could pick this bike up for $9,999. We'll see when we get it on the road whether we think that would have been a good value back then or not. Used, you can get this bike and bikes around the same model year for anywhere between 4 and 7, depending on, mileage, condition, things of that nature. We have a 21-inch front wheel and a 17-inch rear wheel. They are matched with MotoZ Tractionator GPS tires. The front wheel is a 90-90-21. The rear wheel is a 150-70-17. They are spoked wheels, as you can see, and they are not spoked in a tubeless fashion. So there are tubes in these tires. Braking on the front is handled by dual 308mm rotors and Nissan 2-pot calipers. Braking in the rear is handled by a single 245mm rotor and Nissan single-pot caliper. The front suspension is handled by 45mm inverted Showa forks that are fully adjustable. And the front suspension has 8.7 inches of travel. The rear suspension is controlled with a Showa fully adjustable monoshock with a external oil reservoir. The rear has 8.5 inches of suspension travel. There is a steel trellis frame. I've always loved the way these steel trellis frames looked. The engine in the Triumph Tiger 800, I think, is a really special piece. It is a 799cc variant of the Street Triple engine. And so basically what that means is it is the Street Triple engine that they obviously made a little bigger, and they tuned it to be a little better for adventure touring. We'll see how we like this engine on the road, but I can promise you I'm going to like it because I love triples. The 799cc triple makes 94 horsepower and 58 pounds of torque. And the Tiger has a 6-speed transmission and a chain final drive. Seat height on this bike is adjustable from 31.9 inches all the way to 32.7 inches. Right now, it is on the lower setting. Personally, I like the setting better. It just feels like I'm kind of in the bike a little more, and I like that. The Tiger also has a 5-gallon fuel tank. Tiger should get around 38 average MPG. So you should be able to get around 190 miles out of a single tank of fuel. This Tiger weighs 473 pounds, wet and ready. Oh, let's go over the modifications. We have a SW Motec skid plate. Clearly it has done its job protecting things because something's already bent it. We have aftermarket levers, probably Amazon, We all know I don't like Amazon levers. Stop putting Amazon levers on your bike. There are aftermarket LED turn signals, which I have already noticed do not have the required resistor or relay in them to make them flash at a normal rate. So you'll notice when we're out there and we're turning, it does blink pretty fast. I'm not sure if we could rightfully say that the tires are a modification, but they are really, really good tires. I had them on my KTM 1090R, and they did wonderfully. So that's actually why he has these tires on here. I told him how great they were, and he got them. I'd say it's a modification. They're awesome tires. Our next modification is the zip ties holding the windscreen from falling backward. Nice! I also want to point out the factory center stand. Center stands are a beautiful thing, people. Let's sit on this puppy and go over all the gadgets and gizmos and wizardry. First things first, when I'm sitting on it at 6 foot tall, 255 fantastic pounds, and a 32-inch inseam, this bike's super comfortable. As far as adventure bikes go, I'd say sitting on this bike is one of the most comfortable adventure bikes I have ever sat on. I have plenty of room, as you can see. JK4 fronts, holler. And it's just a super comfortable, good place to be. Talking about the dash here, we can see we have an analog tack. Everyone knows I love me an analog tack, man. Tiger 800 also has ABS, and it is on-off switchable, which is a beautiful thing. Over here we have the pass button. That is which will just momentarily turn the high beams on. We also have a 12-volt plug that comes standard. Well, nothing to it but to do it. What do you say we fire this puppy up, give it a little rip, see how it sounds, and then we'll go take it out on the street and see what it can do and how we like it. When you are in neutral and everything is ready to go, ready to be fired up, nothing. With the Triumph, you have to have the clutch pulled in, no matter what, to start it. One thing I want to point out is this exhaust is kind of broken. Come on, Cam Tram, fix your shit. Nothing to it but do it. Let's go. The only negative that I've noticed about these Moto Z Tractionator GPS tires is right when you start, like, I mean, just the second you start to move, you can kind of feel the front wheel do this. It's got something to do with the tires, because my 1090 did the exact same thing. But small gripe, small potatoes. Let's just take a second and listen to this triple. I love a triple so much. When riding, the very first thing I notice is just how comfortable this is. Like, everything about it is super comfortable. The rider triangle is close to perfect for me, and the seat is insanely comfortable. I would definitely say that I could ride this absolutely all day with no problem. And I know that for sure because I rode my Tiger 800 to Ohio and back, and it was about a 8-9 hour trip each way, and I did that in a weekend, and it was fine. Like, this bike is very, very comfortable for long distance. All right, we're about to turn onto our curvy-ish back road. You know, it's not that super curvy, it's not insane, but it's what I got down here in the plains of Virginia.
Yes.
Hallelujah and stuff. Let's go. So when I had my Tiger 800 XC, I took that thing on some pretty sketchy corners. Oh yeah, it's still good. Oh yeah. Oh man. It's so good. Like, I don't know what it is about the Tiger 800, but it is so good. I took mine in the mountains once, and like, I was doing turns that I probably should not have been doing. Like, afterwards I was like, you're a fucking dumbass. Like, even with the 21-inch front wheel, I have zero problems riding this briskly. I love it. And then that, coupled with that beautiful triple out of the street triple, and you just have such a fun and capable and kind of in one way oxymoronic? But please, let me explain. So it's oxymoronic because it's an adventure bike, but it essentially has a Daytona engine in it. And when riding it, you can feel that. You can tell that it is from a street bike. It's from a Daytona and a street triple, because that's still how it makes its power. Yes, it's very linear, but it definitely doesn't have that low-end grunty torque that other adventure bikes have. It certainly feels like more of a street bike engine. And for some weird reason, that appeals to me so much. I loved my Tiger to absolute death, and I would say that was on my top 2 or top 3 favorite motorcycles that I have ever owned. If you're curious, the other 2 are the 990 SMT and my current Super Tenere 1200. Also very good. And because it has that street bike engine feel to it, it's not the same as, like, let's say, you know, the Tenere 700 or you know, most other adventure bikes that make their torque right off the bottom. It doesn't do the same thing. So when you're riding this off-road, because I did ride mine, you know, a decent bit off-road, you have to really kind of wind it out off-road to do the same thing. And it's, you know, I know a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people don't like it, but for me it was almost like a challenge to see how much I could have it wound up off-road, and it was so much fun. The 2 best fit and finish that you're going to get on just everything that they have is Triumph and Harley Davidson. And personally, I think Triumph makes some really, really cool bikes. Like this, for example, I tend to like weird shit more than typical people do. And I think that maybe that's one of the reasons I gravitate towards Triumph some. I definitely want to own a street triple one day for sure. If anyone has a street triple, please let me ride it, let me review it. And speaking of Triumph, I have a hookup on a Rocket 3R that I'll be reviewing soon, which is cool. Alright, so we're going to turn here and we're going to accelerate and mash on it a whole bunch until I don't want to no more. Oh man, that triple is just so fun. It really is. It's so fun. I love the way it makes its power. It is like perfectly flat almost, it feels, through the whole RPM band. It is awesome. The Triumph dash that this has is honestly one of my favorite dashes. It has analog tach. It gives you all the information you need. You have miles per hour right there. You have all your trip information on the bottom. You have a gear indicator. Hallelujah. And you have a, you know, service light. The service light can be kind of a pain in the ass because you need it to be programmed away, but I have the capabilities of doing that, so it's not that big of a deal for me. You have time, you have fuel down over here on the right, and then you have temperature on the left. I think, in my opinion, it's almost perfect. I think if this was like a tiny little TFT display, that would be really sweet. That would be the only thing that I could think of to upgrade it, but I think this is just fine. Like, I could have just this on every single motorcycle and be totally happy. I want to note that this is not my quad lock. This is the quad lock of the guy who owns this motorcycle. I'm not going to shout out who I use for my motorcycle mount yet because I'm not sponsored yet. Come on. I mean, how long does it take? Jesus. I mean, I have almost like 10 subscribers, dude. Come on. As you can see here, the light's blinking quickly because it doesn't have the resistors or a relay to combat that. So we're going to get on the highway, and you know the drill. We're going to give it the beans. good. It's insanely comfortable. Like I said before, I could do this all day. I have done this all day. I love how comfortable this bike is. I love the seating position. I love everything about it. Well, the windscreen's doing a pretty good job. Those zip ties are kicking ass right now. So the windscreen is putting the air right at where my beak starts. And it's doing a quite good job of keeping the wind off of me. The mirrors, they're not that great. I would definitely upgrade the mirrors. I'm seeing in the mirror a lot of my arm, and they are quite vibrational. So like, I can see that a car's behind me, but I can't tell if it's a cop or not, you know? No crash protection, no highway pegs, nowhere to put your feet. Dang it, bruh! One thing that's getting on my damn nerves is this grip right here. It's like super, super loose. Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan of that. Who do I think this bike is for? I think this bike is for a lot of people, honestly. Like if you are, let's say you like nakeds and you want to get into ADV, I think this would be a perfect bike for you. Because you're still gonna get that like street bike power and flavor, and it handles really, really well for an adventure bike. But you're still gonna have the ability to take it off-road, and for that, I love this bike. I think it's great. It's definitely, I don't think it has the off-road prowess to say, yeah, if you love off-road and that's all you want to do, get this bike. No, I'd probably say get a T7 or something similar to that. But if you do like a lot of your time on the road and then you want to dabble off-road, this is a good bike for that, man. I think this could be a really, really good touring bike too. Throw some bags on it and, man, you can take this anywhere. Yeah, bro. The fuel light's on. You know what that means. The fuel light on means Camtram gets a free tank of fuel. You can see it going up now. And now we are looking for a spot to do a 0 to 60 and a braking test. However, before we get to our 0 to 60 and braking test, let's go over the ranking system. So, for aesthetics, for the looks, I think the Tigers are very handsome, especially this generation. The new 900 I like a little less, but I still like. This one, I think they just looked really cool. They look really muscular. I don't know. I just really, really like it. I like the beak. I like the headlights, all that stuff. So, considering, we'll say aesthetically, it's a 7.5. I really like it. Versatility. I mean, this bike's versatile as shit. You can ride it to work every day. I will say that if it had bags, it would be obviously much more versatile. But, you know, it can do all the things. It just needs storage. So for that, we'll say a 7. We'll go with 7. Fun factor. This bike's a lot more fun than I expected. Like, I would never think that a, you know, mid-displacement adventure bike would be this fun, but it really, really is. It is a blast. So for that, for fun factor, I will give it like a 7.5, which is, you know, pretty high for an adventure bike. Oh, we're about to get to my favorite turn of all time. Well, around me anyway. And that's a cop. Overall, I think I'm gonna have to give it like a 6.75. I think is probably the right score to give it. It would definitely score higher if it had bags or some sort of storage system. But I think 6.75 is good for this bike. I also want to point out that Norman Reedus owned a Tiger 800 for a good while. I can't remember what show he was on where he rode a Tiger 800 most of the time. If you remember the name of that show, drop it in the comments, because I can't seem to think of it right now. All right, are we ready for a 0 to 60 and braking check? Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Ugh. ABS definitely works. The brakes are not very good. I'm not gonna under hard braking, the brakes aren't very good. I'm gonna have to retry that start though, because that was kind of shitty. All right, let's try it. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it just doesn't like to start like that. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. The brakes, however, are not so good. I would definitely have to upgrade the brakes if I had another Tiger 800, because under hard braking, it was a little sketchy. Like, I was putting some serious force into it. But the acceleration is just so linear that it just makes it more fun than it really, I mean, 94 horsepower is good, but it's not like insane or anything. But for some weird reason, the way this bike makes the power, it makes that 94 horsepower so much more fun. I miss my Tiger so much. And there I go again, leaving the goddamn turn signal on. Shit! For all 13 now people that watch my channel, and for all 4 of you that made it to the end of this video, you have my deepest gratitude, and thank you very much, and I love every single one of you. And as I said before, if there's something you would like me to test out, or if you want me to test your motorcycle, drop it in the comments, hit me up, man. I'm in Virginia. Don't worry, I'm not gonna say it, Alright. Until next time, smell you later.